Oh, yeah. All right. Here we go. So, I saw this the morning that dropped on Netflix, and I gotta say, uh, Bong Joon-ho, his films are incredible. Unfortunately, I have not had the chance to see. I think it's Memories of Murder. I haven't had a chance to see that yet, but it's been recommended to me a lot, and this film blew my fucking mind. Like, this is one of the year's best in my personal opinion. Like, let's start with Okja, the big hippo-ish super pig in this film. I mean, it really looks like a big adorable puppy kind of fused with a pig and a hippopotamus all at the same time. I mean, with like a sprinkle of a rhino or rhinoceros in that bitch. But I'm telling you right now, this is one of the most impressive CGI creatures that you're likely to see all year. Like, just the textures on this thing, like the skin, the nostrils, the little hairs, the eyes. I mean, it is such an expressive, borderline photorealistic CGI creature. I think the budget of this was about like 50 million or something like that. And seriously, the CGIing of this creature is better CGI than I've seen in films that were, that had a budget of 100 million or 150 million. I mean, it's such an expressive, uh, realistic looking creature. I mean, it looks like it's in the frame, and there's so many close up moments with Majaya and Okja. Whether it's her laying on, and it just occurred to me that Okja is a female. We'll get to that in a little bit, but the moments here at the beginning of the film where we're just experiencing just wordless sequences in this vast forest between Okja and Majaya. Just the two of them bonding and what their chemistry is like is extraordinary. Just it just gave me goosebumps. It was so dope. It was so like not only adorable but it felt magical. Seeing the two of them interact in this forest. And that brings me to another point is that the cinematography I thought was just fantastic in this film. Just the color palettes, the way that this film was shot, I thought was perfect. I think Bong just nailed it when it comes to the technical aspects of the film. Except for one thing, but we'll get to that. But seriously, when it comes to cinematography and the CGI and the color palette, I thought he knocked it out of the park. I was so blown away by the look and how they brought Okja to life, and um, I'm gonna be all over the place, but that's just how I am with my reviews. But the actress who plays Majaya, I thought she did such this little girl did such a great job in this film. Like, I can't say that her performance was necessarily exceptional, but she just so effortlessly carries this film on her shoulders. And every range of emotion, every line of dialogue, she was convincing, and she had me convinced. There was never a point in time during her performance where I was like that never happened, or like I cringed, or I thought it was cheesy. I thought she was always on the mark, always. And one thing that I really loved about her and Okja's relationship is that I'm so curious as to like what she whispers to Okja. Is she whispering like a reoccurring set of words, like a certain pattern? Is she like saying a certain poem like over and over again? Is it the same message every time? Is what I'm trying to say. Or is what she's whispering, is it different every time? Has anyone like tried to figure out like exactly what she's saying? This is like a lost in translation, Sophia Coppola moment here. Like, I'm really curious what she's saying to Okja. I'm fascinated by that. But even right here, like right here, it's like are we looking at CGI? Are we looking at something practical? Are we looking at like a blend of CGI and practical right here with the flap of Okja's ear? I mean, I'm telling you, the CGI is just remarkable on this fucking creature. Jesus Christ. Let's see if I have another shot here. And do I have the window up? Oh, I do have the window up. But I mean, just oh my god, just it's incredible. It's incredible. There's a buddy of mine who was telling me that the CGI was he thought the CGI was terrible. I was like, bro, you're bonkers. It's and there was one time where she was whispering inside of Okja's ear, and like they zoomed in on Okja's eyes, and it was so expressive. Fuck me. It reminded me of actually I can go grab it. Go grab it really quick. It reminds me of this is one of my favorite movies of all time, the Peter Jackson. Yeah, but anyways, it reminds me of how at the when King Kong dies at the end, there's this beautiful moment where Naomi Watts and King Kong, they're on the top of the Empire State Building, and you see King Kong give his last breath, and you see it's like his pupils just slowly, like I can't remember if they expand or close, but they do something equivalent to dilating, and it's like in slow motion, and it's just yeah, it's very similar, it's the subtleties, That's the thing I think that makes great CGI is the little subtleties, the little hairs, the texture of the skin, the wrinkle of the skin, the way that light casts off it. God, he just sorry, but the technical aspects of this film just freaked me out. They were so good. What else can I say? Performance wise, I think everyone was sufficient. Though, let's talk about Jake Gyllenhaal for a second, because I know that his performance is probably going to be of some controversy for some. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the best actors working, breathing at the current time. His performance in this film, I will admit, it is a little bit too over the top, but if I'm being honest, I don't know that his performance was a flaw. For one, he's not in the film long enough to really get underneath my skin with his zaniness, his wackiness, and like I think it's a little bit too much. I think it's a little bit overcooked, and I kind of wish that there were maybe serious aspects to his performance, or like a menacing side to his performance that kind of counteract or dull out his complete wacky aspects of his, like when he climbs the mountain and he goes to see Okja, and he's just like, oh man, I need some water. Like he's just like his voice sounds like a shrill. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. But I wasn't too bothered by him. I wasn't too bothered by him. I don't mind characters that are just batshit crazy. In this film, he kind of felt a little bit. I mean, there's definitely some over the top elements going on in the film, but he just felt just a little bit too much, just a little bit. He wasn't like a Jar Jar Binks to me. I wasn't cringing to death when he was on screen, but it was a little bit much. But I didn't mind it, because the film is quirky, and the film is it very viscerally changes tones, and it's just kind of it's just a wild movie. I mean, it's wild, almost delirious in a sense, because like you kind of have like at the beginning of the film, this sort of magical, peaceful moments with Majaya and Okja, and then and then we get to the pig rape, when Okja got raped, right? That's actually, I think I have let me see something. I think this happened like right before when they brought the male in to mate with Okja, but it was really just like a super pig rape sequence. That shit was, first off, that has to go down as one of the top most fucked up moments in cinema I've seen so far this year. Like, or maybe just in general for 2017. That was that was not even like on my radar of like I wonder how fucked up this can get. Like he totally just blindsided me. Bong did. I mean, I did. That fucked me up. That was like because Okja is such a innocent, you know, cute big ass animal. Things like the size of two Range Rovers or some shit. Thing is huge, but she's gotta smell fucking terrible too. But yeah, that was a really difficult sequence to watch. That was really hard for me, especially when they were, you know, the group, the AF, whatever they're called. They were telling Stephen Yoon to turn off the volume or whatever. I was like, yo, Otis is screaming, Jesus Christ, make it stop. What the fuck? But in this moment here, not in this exact moment, but in this moment where I think it's after that terrible sequence happens to Okja, and Jake Gyllenhaal comes into the room next to Okja, and he's like super drunk, and he takes out a sample of her flesh. Like in that moment, that's a great example of a moment where you know you really could have portrayed, you could have dialed back the silliness of his performance and really made Jake Gyllenhaal become really creepy or like really menacing with like really sinister dialogue. But they didn't go that route. But so things like that, I think, would have made his character more bearable for people who were just not digging his over the top nature. But I don't know, it didn't bother me that much, to be honest with you. Um, Tilda Swinton. There's another thing I want to say. She's not an actress that I've ever spoken too much about, but I think she's just a fascinating actress, and she's always in just awesome movies. I think the first movie that I saw her in was just a movie that I loved to death. Danny Boyle's The Beach. I think that was the first movie I ever saw her in. But you know, either that or Curious Case of Benjamin Button or whatever, Snowpiercer, whatever. She's always in fascinating movies, and she always does a really good job. But in this movie, though, the scene at the beginning of the film where Miranda, which I guess is like a play on Monsanto, you know, basically. But and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, first of all, if you don't know what I'm talking about, what the fuck, you should look into it because I don't know why you wouldn't know about this. Monsanto, yes, basically what the Miranda Corporation is. But anyway, this opening sequence at the beginning of the film where she's like talking about these super pigs and how they're gonna be grown over the next 10 years and blah blah blah, and then she was like, and they gotta taste fucking good. When she, that's gotta be one of the most jarring lines of dialogue from a character this year. The first time I heard her say that, I was like, the the fuck kind of movie is this? This movie is a head trip. Let me tell you. What else can I say? The action sequences are just like thrilling moments. For example, when Majaya jumps through this glass door right here, and she's like running down the streets after Okja, and then we get to that underpass, and then we get to this moment. Or actually, hold up. Oh yeah, we get to this moment right here where Majaya, she's standing on top of this car and Okja's in the distance, and they both run at each other and embrace. By the way, this reminds me of how in Snowpiercer there's a sequence when and if you haven't seen Snowpiercer, don't worry, this isn't a spoiler. Uh, but there's a moment in Snowpiercer where you see a crowd of people standing, and they all sit, or at least they all kneel down, except for one person, Chris Evans' character, and you see him just standing there. For whatever reason, this moment reminds me of that moment. Is that coincidence? Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know. Anyway, but that moment where they embrace and she just literally leaps at fucking Okja is, oh man, that made me so happy. And then when the two of them are like running through this mall, like just the visuals were just stunning, just stunning. My God, I would have loved to see like the B-roll footage of like what was actually happening. What else can I say? Oh yeah, then we get to Paul Dano, very underappreciated actor, but he's in this film. He kind of just fit into the role perfectly. I love the sequence of him beating the shit out of Stephen Yeun. That is not something that I ever in life thought I would see, but alrighty. And the sad thing is that there's probably more people who watched the movie because of Glenn than as opposed to the director, which kind of makes me sad. But it was kind of cool to see Glenn in here. But the director is the real star of this movie. Also, there was one moment that fuck, I was supposed to think about this deeper and come up with something, a detailed explanation. But when we first see Stephen Yeun's gang and they're in mass and they're blowing like these violet flower petals out the window in front of the truck that is carrying Okja. I've been trying to figure out like why the fuck did Bong do that? I feel like it's got to be a symbolism for something. I'm not particularly sure what. But I don't know. It just immediately made me think about how in Elysium, when Kruger and Matt Damon's character are fighting, the flower petals fly by. Kind of reminds me of this one moment in Ghost in the Shell with a feather that's used in a very memorable way, or feathers, I should say. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had thought deeper about it. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about why um, the director chose to do that in the film. It doesn't feel random. Um, I'm curious. I don't know. I mean, you could chalk it up to just like a distraction mechanism, but I feel like pulling up alongside this dude and staring at him with your crew who's got masks on would be enough of a distraction. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts though. But I just thought that was interesting to me because it didn't feel random. Oh, seeing two Tildas fucking was super bizarre. What the fuck? The movie is just filled with what the fuck moments, but I love it though. I love it because you know it's you gotta stand out. You know, so many filmmakers. I know some people might criticize this movie for being over the top or being too wild and too delirious and shifting tones too rapidly and um, you know playing with dark and light elements. You know, I don't know that I feel like filmmakers should be distinctive. You know, I like films that are just so mind-blowingly distinctive and different. You know, I don't like everything to be the same. It's just so I don't like safe when it comes to storytelling. And you shouldn't go too far because there's some filmmakers that go way too fucking far. But oh yeah, and again, the use of color is fascinating in this film. Like how it's so easy to pick out Majaya from this um, crowd. You know what I mean? Um, just the use of colors is very interesting in this film. But I don't know. Is there anything else that I particularly wanted to say? Um, it's interesting how this one golden pig, this one seemingly random object, actually ended up saying Ocha's life. And let me tell you, when we get to that slaughterhouse, I suppose, and you're seeing all these, you know, different forms. You're seeing all these super pigs being like decapitated and kind of like hoarded together, barbed wire fences, and for a moment I thought that Bong was just gonna say fuck it and actually just kill Okja, which would have been really, really dark. Holy shit! I'm almost kind of glad they didn't kill Okja. That just would have been that would have been fucking just dark as shit. And I thought it was fascinating that Majaya, she offers a golden pig, and they so effortlessly let Okja go. Um, and while Okja is free, you know, these atrocities to these super pigs are still going on. You know what I mean? Until the Swinton and company are still going strong. I thought that was a kind of a powerful concept to leave people with. It kind of reminds me of the ending of A Clockwork Orange. It's just like it's heavy to think about. Think about in real life, uh, situations in real life similar to what happened at that slaughterhouse. But I don't know. Personally, I how many minutes have we been at talking about this thing? 20 minutes. I love this film. I've been talking mostly positives. Let's talk about some negatives. First off, surprisingly, the music is a massive, massive negative to me. The music didn't. I'm not saying the music was bad. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the music did not stand out at all. It didn't stand out at all. In fact, I can't think of one moment where the music there's just a standout moment with music. Like there just wasn't. When I watch Gladiator, when I watch Inception, Taxi Driver, I don't know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like there's just so many moments where the music just totally elevates the sequence, and like the film would not be the same without these musical moments, like La La Land, Man of Steel. Where the music just elevates these fucking scenes, and the music just there just wasn't any standout moments with the music and scenes. So I thought that was a really big missed opportunity. Um, what else can I say about flaws? The structure of the film is very familiar. It doesn't leave a lot of room for replay value in my personal opinion. I kind of equate it to if you watch a movie about who killed Jane, and then that's what the movie's about. Who killed Jane? Who was it? Was it Bob? Was it Steve? And then you find out who killed Jane at the end of the film. Okay, but I mean that doesn't really leave much room to watch the film. Again, you know what I mean? Because the film is just based around who killed Jane. So once you've seen the film, it's kind of like not many reasons to see it again. Like with this film, it's kind of like, oh my god, what's gonna happen to Ocha? Oh my god, what's gonna happen? And once you find out what happens, it's like, all right, well, I mean, there's not too many reasons to sort of replay this movie again and again and again. For me, like a 10 out of 10 has a lot of replay value. To maybe discover Easter eggs, maybe to, you know, um, find things in dialogue that you didn't notice the first time around, or notice the way that a certain subplot is structured. Maybe you can reinterpret it when you watch it again, or maybe there's just scenes in the film that, in the way that they were executed, you're just like, well, I wonder why they did this. I wonder why they did that. And then you watch it again, and you're like, oh, I'm starting to pick up something. Kind of like with the David Lynch, with the David Lynch movie. There's no way you can watch an abstract David Lynch film, um, and after the first viewing, you're like, yep, understood everything I needed to know. Thank you, David. Like, no, no, no. You finish the film, you have a gist of what happened, but you gotta watch it again and again and again to get a full picture. I don't feel like this is one of those films. I really don't, because the structure of the film is the plot structure is pretty straightforward. It's linear, and it's not heavy with metaphors and symbolism, in my opinion, anyway. Not substantially speaking, anyway. Or like with Easter eggs. For example, like her whispering in Okja's ear, even though we're not sure what she's saying. I would consider that like like a cool little Easter egg to try to pick apart upon repeated viewings. I just wish there were more elements of that in the plot to make the replay value higher. Anyway, is there any other flaws? I think that the film focused too much. I think this film focused too much on shock and fucked up dark moments as opposed to awe-inspiring moments. I wish there was more of a focus on all those categories I just mentioned. I'm fine with shock. I'm fine with dark, fucked up imagery or concepts, but I wish there was just as much the emphasis on that. I wish there was just as much emphasis on scenes of wonder, scenes of you know um, spectacle, because like at the beginning of this film when we're introduced to these two, I wish there was more moments like that. Uh, those awe-inspiring moments that make you wonder. Especially because you have a film with like such a adorable Studio Ghibli looking creature that looks almost borderline real, and very adorable little girl. It would have been nice to have seen more awe-inspiring moments like their first interactions in the film. I think that would have made the film infinitely more watchable. Like when I watch the opening to Man of Steel, it's just so awe-inspiring that like the all the scenes on Krypton at the beginning of Man of Steel, what that takes up maybe 7, 10 minutes, something like that. It's just so awe-inspiring. I'm so blown away. There's so much spectacle, and I haven't even seen Superman yet. You know what I mean? So, that was actually a big one for me. That was actually a big one. Wish there was more spectacle, more wonder, more magic. Um, the Bong seemed really distracted by the really really dark elements, but um, yeah, those were some of my biggest flaws though, for sure, for sure. Um, but outside of that, I mean, yeah, those flaws are big for me. But I really love this film. Personally, I'm feeling a 9. Gonna go with a 9 out of 10 for this film. I just had a blast with it. I'm so blown away by. I think the consensus for the most part for this film is pretty good. It seems like the reception is pretty good. But like, I, I don't know. The people who are hating on this film are just. Oh, I'm just like, oh my god, just stop, get away from me. It's like you're screaming nonsense. Because I had a blast with this film. It was riveting. It was thought provoking. It was what the fuck inducing. It was cute. Uh, there's just astounding moments of beautiful CGI, and there are some really emotionally resonating moments in this film. Um, but because of the flaws that I mentioned, it if they had the flaws that I have with this film, if those were removed, this would be an easy 10 out of 10. But I'm feeling a 9 out of 10. It's a near masterpiece. I had a fantastic time. It's got a great message. I know some people are going to say that it's preaching, it's trying to shove a message down your throat. I don't know. I didn't get that vibe personally. I think this is an important film that I think everyone should see. Because it does have a really important message that people should think dead serious about. Like, for example, if you don't know nothing about Monsanto, you should educate yourself. It's fucked up. But anyway, yeah, I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 for this film. But what do you think about it? I'm in love with it. It's one of my favorite films of the year. It's in my top 10 currently. Anyway, but what do you think about the film? Let me know your thoughts of it down below. Somebody tell Bong that his fucking hair is super dope. Have you guys seen his hair? It's fucking gorgeous.